This is a single-cylinder Bendix Eclipse 1938. I've been looking at these engines for a number of years and said, crappy, air-cooled, too light, break easily, and probably don't run worth a shit. Well, I was wrong on all accounts. It's very lightweight and lightly built because it's very, very light. For a 1938 engine, it is extremely light. It puts out very good horsepower. It does not overheat like a lot of air-cooled ones do. And it runs extremely well. The controls are very simple. It's got a choke here, and then that's the adjustment knob, and it's very slow. It's not instantaneously goes from too rich to too lean. This is your gas turn on. This has a little door that opens up, and you can see the carburetor and stuff in there, a little bit of the carburetor. It's extremely well designed. There's a stop button. It's got ice-elastic mounts right here and up in here as well, if you look. And the lower unit's very small, so it has very little drag, and it has underwater exhaust. And as I say, it does not overheat, and it idles down to nothing, as you will hear and see. And it's got some sort of unusual features. If you look, this piece right here detaches the whole thing, and that's how the drive shaft comes out of this thing. The pinion gear comes right through there. It's welded onto the drive shaft, which is hollow to make it light. It's not solid, and it's got the pinion gear is welded to the tube, and then at the upper end a square drive is welded to the upper part to have the engine drive it. So these things were very well thought out by somebody who really had not much connection, I would say, to the standard outboard industry. The cooling fan is enormous, and the cooling fins are multiple. Very well done. You can see there's a lot of cooling fin. Everything has a much thin cooling fins, and that's why it does not overheat. And it starts very, very easily. So I'm quite pleased with it. It was a real surprise to me. I didn't expect anything in the way of performance or weight or anything else, and quite the opposite. Very impressed with the engine. For something that old, in the 30s, 38, it's, I would say, ahead of its time. It's mounted on a Old Town, which most of you have all seen before, and it's a good match. The boat actually planes off with this engine, as you will see. As I said, the pinion gear and drive shaft, you can see it right here. Excuse me, it's not a square drive, it's a spline drive, but it is welded, and this is a tube. And here is the pinion gear welded on the bottom. And you can see, if you look carefully, you can see welding marks right in this area right here where the tube is welded on. And as I say, it's assembled through the lower unit. It goes right in through that hole. And that's how you disassemble a lower unit. And the ignition system, this is a dual coil one. The one we just looked at was a single head, just has one of these coils, but the condenser and the points are mounted up here, and the flywheel has the cam on it. And then you can see that the rotor, the magnetic rotor, is right here. Again, this is a dual, but they're both the same, have the same ignition. So it's, and you can see how much cooling fins there are. The single obviously has one cylinder, but a lot of cooling on it. A lot of cooling. Air-cooled 1938 Bendix Eclipse single cylinder, 2¼ horsepower. Idles magnificently well and runs well, has good power, and does not overheat. Frosty says, this is the end of the show.
That's all.
Goodbye.